Alright, hello Trailblazers. Today we're going to talk about some of the most frequently asked questions that I get over on my Twitch channel and talk about some things in Honkai Star Rail that you might not have known about and hopefully clear up some confusion with some of the terminology in the game and make things a little bit more clearer to understand. Alright, let's start this video off with break effect. A lot of people get break effect confused with weakness break efficiency. They are not the same. Break effect is the damage you do upon breaking the enemy's toughness bar, aka that white bar above their HP bar, as well as the damage over time that occurs after the fact. Weakness break efficiency, however, is how fast you can break the shield. There is currently no stat in the game that can give you more weakness break efficiency, no relics or anything like that. However, in Simulated Universe, there is a nihility buff you can take that does increase your weakness break efficiency. So for example, if you use Asta against an enemy who is weak to fire and it takes 2 E's from Asta's ability to break that shield, maybe it'll only take 1 now because you have more weakness break efficiency. So keep that in mind. And on top of actually breaking, depending on what character you're using will be applied a different debuff to them. So if you are breaking an enemy who is weak to physical and you weakness break them, you will be dealing physical damage over time. So like bleed damage, fire is burn, ice, you'll be freezing the enemy every time you break them. If you're using an ice character, lightning is shock, wind shear for wind, entanglement for quantum, and imprisonment for imaginary. So different types of break effect as you do break the enemy depending on their weakness, and weakness break efficiency is just being able to break the shield a little bit faster. Hopefully that clears up a little bit of confusion, because a lot of people always ask me, what is break effect? Can I break their shields faster? No, it's just the damage you do as you break that shield. Another question I get asked a lot is, what is effect hit rate? Effect hit rate is basically more effect hit, you have a better chance of applying debuffs to the enemy, aka all for your nihility characters, or in my case, I'm using Japard here, right? If we take a look at his trace really quick, I have a 65% base chance to freeze the enemy. If I have more effect hit rate, I have a better chance of actually applying freeze to the enemy with my E ability. So I am, unironically, trying to stack effect hit rate on my Japard so I can try and freeze the enemy more. You have Pella as well, 100% base chance to inflict exposed on the enemy, and when exposed, enemy's defense will be reduced by 33% for 2 turns. Of course, this is perfect for your nihility characters. You essentially want to build more effect hit rate on your nihility characters because in my case, my Pella has 7 effect hit rate. Now, what happens when the enemy who has effect resist? Well, let's move on to effect resist. Effect resist is the chance to negate and dodge the debuff. So quite often, even though it says I have a 100% base chance to apply exposed to the enemies and reduce their defense, sometimes the enemies can still resist that because they have effect resist. So effect resist, you're just building more of that to negate debuffs from the enemy. So if the enemy keeps freezing you, if you're having a hard time with Gacolia on World 6 for the Simulated Universe, maybe think about building more effect resist on your characters. Effect resist would be very perfect for like your healing characters, your abundance characters, for example. 29 effect resist on my Natasha at the moment. Certain enemies have different debuffs for you, wind shear, bleed, etc. You'll be able to negate those debuffs, stay healthy, and make sure you are able to cleanse your other party members who might not have as much effect resist, like my Su Sheng with that 12% effect resist, or my Serval who's at 6% effect resist. They're most likely going to keep getting captured. My tank is also running 11% effect resist. Now, if you do want to keep in mind, I am currently running, or I was, normally I am running post-op conversation on my Natasha. It's a 4-star light cone. I would personally prefer having perfect timing as a perfect artifact for her. It's an abundance artifact and it does increase your effect resist by 16%. So this is my normal build that I run. My current effect resist is 13. I'm always finding myself getting frozen by, I'm not able to pop my ultimate, my team gets wiped, and it's Natasha's fault at the end of the day. But if I build her with more effect resist, you can resist those debuffs and actually save your team. So keep that in mind when you guys are building your abundance characters, as well as I'd say effect resist would be perfect for your tank character, because you're also able to negate that and basically do your job, aka tank and taunt the enemy. Now, if we are keeping the conversation on the tank, as you are building your team comp, And I'm going to quickly go over to Forgotten Halls here just so I can show you.
Do you want to enter the
As you are building your team comp, you want to make sure you always put your tank in the first slot, aka on the far left side, or put your tank on the very end slot. So now multiple enemies can do like various AoE attacks, and if your tank, aka main character, is taunting, because they do have a taunt ability with their E, if your tank is in the middle, my Dan Heng would get attacked, for example. So if I swap main character in the middle, my Dan Heng would get attacked and my Natasha would get attacked. 2 more enemies are getting attacked because of the placement of your main character. If you put main character on the far right side, only 2 characters are getting attacked, your healer and the tank. I always like to put my tank at the very end of the team comp. So if he's getting attacked, at least the healer is the only one other getting attacked, and my healer should have a lot of HP to absorb that. I want to keep the damage away from my damage dealers and let them focus on doing what they do best. So keep that in mind. I don't know if anyone or a lot of people actually knew that, but you want to make sure you keep your tank on the far left or the far right side for your team comp for extra survivability. All right, and really quickly, I just want to go over all the paths for Honkai Star Rail. I don't know if anyone's confused about this, but I just wanted to throw this in here just in case. Your destruction characters are basically like your good survivability characters plus damage. They're like a jack of all trades, a little bit of both. Your hunt characters are your damage dealers, your like single target boss killers right here. So we have Dan Heng, Su Sheng, Zila, and Yan Qing. Erudition are going to be your AoE characters, basically a lot of damage to multiple enemies at once. So you have Himeko, Herda, Serval, and Qing Shui. Harmony characters are your buffers here. So Asta is able to increase combat readiness or speed for your team. Branya is able to increase advance forward, attack, crit damage, a whole bunch. She's a really good support. Tingyun as well. Nihility is your debuffers in the game. So Pella is able to apply defense down. Sampo, a lot of damage over time. And Welt with the slow. Preservation are your tanks in Honkai Star Rail. So if you are wondering who your tank characters are, you do have one. March 7th is a tank character as well as Fire main character. And Abundance is, of course, your healers in the game. Unfortunately, you only get 2 at the moment, and one of them is a 5-star, so you pretty much only have 1 5-star. But if you guys are building March 7th and you did end up getting a lot of Eidolons for her, her E6 does allow her to heal. So keep that in mind if you guys are trying to work on that copium train and try to find another substitute while you work on that other healer. Okay, and as you're building your characters and leveling up light cones, if you somehow run into an issue where you just don't have a light cone for a character, always keep in mind you can still use a light cone from a different path. You just won't benefit from this bottom part here. So for example, my main character is a preservation character. I am currently running this preservation light cone. If I still want to use this light cone, I can swap over to destruction path. I'm still able to use the light cone. I'm still able to get the raw stats from this, but I won't be able to benefit from the defense and all the other stuff down there. So for example, if you just somehow have a light cone that you absolutely hate and you don't want to use, you can still use it just for the main stats on a different character. So a lot of people, for example, don't like the Himeko light cone. They say that this is probably one of the worst 5-star light cones in the game, and I can see that by reading this this meteor swarm down here, right? You can still use this 5-star light cone just for the raw stats if you so wish, or use a different 5-star light cone just for the raw stats if you so wish. So always keep that in mind if you are trying to find a light cone for one of your characters and you're like, damn, I don't really have like a good erudition light cone built up. I can't use this character in combat. They're gonna die. They have like no HP. Just stack whatever on them. Let me see. How much attack does she have? 208, 327. Let me go ahead and take this light cone from my Dan Heng. Let's swap. Boom. We're at 514 attack. Simple. I can still use this light cone. I just won't benefit from the attribute down below. So keep it in mind. I'm not recommending you do it, but I'm just throwing that out there as an option just in case. Okay, there's a couple more things I want to throw into the video just in case you didn't know. Now, I'm in the simulated universe. I have Galactic Big Lotto, and basically what it means is there is a chance that I lose 99% of my HP. So if you take a look on the right side, all my characters are low HP. There's no healing in sight, and I have to fight an enemy. My Natasha, if she doesn't have a heal, I'm dead, right? If you guys didn't know this, if you're running fire main character in your team, hit C, open up the menu, you can swap preservation back over to destruction and use his E ability in the bottom right corner. I'll move the slime so you can see. Restore. Snap my fingers, I can restore my HP back to my team. So if you're on the brink of death and you're like, oh snap, I have extra skill points that I can use, might as well use it, get yourself back up into a safe level so you can start the fight and then have your healer heal your characters back up. Keep that in mind just in case you find yourself in a tight situation. And now, speaking of tight situations, say for example, I'm at the boss fight, right? I'm in Simulated Universe and I made it all the way to... I had a nice run, it was looking great, but I just ended up misclicking, right? I Q'd and I meant to actually E. My bad, now it looks like I'm about to lose. What you could do is you could close your game, aka hitting Alt F4, which closes the program you're currently on, which would be Honkai Star Rail. The game would close, you reopen it, and you're back off where you left. You get to start the fight brand new and reset. So if your characters ended up dying and there was one left, you could essentially close the game, reopen it, and reset if you wanted to try and abuse that, just to give you a better shot again if you think you could have won. All right, we just launched the game back up. Let's go ahead and see where we are and where we left off. We should be right outside of the fight. Yep, there we go. We're right outside of the fight. Guy unfortunately attacked me, but if you're against a boss, the boss isn't going to hit you. And I can start the fight all over again like nothing even happened. All right, and I believe that concludes the end of the video. These were the most frequently asked questions that I get over on my Twitch channel. Hope you guys found this video helpful or informative. If you guys do have any more questions, feel free to leave a comment down below or join us over on Twitch. I'm live every single day. Happy to answer all of your questions. And if you guys need any more help with any other kind of guide videos, do please leave a comment or tell me on my Twitch channel. I'd be more than happy to talk about that and have a discussion about it. But with that being said, subscribe if you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.